So where do you go when you're stressed? Where do you turn? Not just people, but what is your personal way to not just escape from the reality or the stresses, the anxieties? Because escapism on its own is not helpful, but to get perspective, to get courage and hope, maybe to be reminded of the deeper truths. Well, for me, of late, I've found less I wanted to watch at night when I'm at home, more I've wanted to read, and most recently, returning to one of my favorite authors and some of his works of fiction, that is J.R.R. Tolkien. So I want to read a quote of his from The Lord of the Rings, which is maybe the most common, even for those who haven't read or seen. You might know about the idea of Frodo and his companion Sam, hobbits, unlikely, unsuspecting, lowly hobbits who have to take this great journey to Mount Doom. And so this is a quote in the third book, The Return of the King, from the second chapter, The Land of Shadow, in case you're wondering. And it depicts Frodo and Sam there. And it's Sam talking about how he can find hope when he feels like all is lost. It says, "There was a bitter tang in the air of Mordor that dried the mouth. When Sam thought of water, even his hopeful spirit quailed. Beyond the Morgai, there was the dreadful plain of Gorgoroth to cross. Now, you go to sleep first, Mr. Frodo," Sam said. "It's getting dark again. I reckon this day is nearly over." Frodo sighed and was asleep almost before the words were spoken. Sam struggled with his own weariness, and he took Frodo's hand, and there he sat silent till deep night fell. Then, at last, to keep himself awake, he crawled from the hiding place and looked out. The land seemed full of creaking and cracking and sly noises, but there was no sound of voice or of foot. Far above the Efelduath in the west, the night sky was still dim and pale. There, peeping among the cloud rack, above a dark tor, high up in the mountains, Sam saw a white star twinkle for a while. The beauty of it smote his heart. As he looked up out of the forsaken land, and hope returned to him. For like a shaft, clear and cold, the thought pierced him that in the end the shadow was only a small and passing thing. There was light and high beauty forever beyond its reach. The peace of Christ be with all of you this day and all the days to come.